Do I look like?
Hi, everybody. Today, I'd like to introduce a very special guest to you. And we have here Mark Idour. And Mark is the distributor of Sunstream saunas in Australia and New Zealand. So Mark has very graciously agreed to be invited to talk to you a bit more about how sauna is useful, particularly infrared sauna, and how Sunstream is different from other saunas available in the market. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much for having me on your program.
Mark, I just want to ask you a few questions that are usually the normal questions that I'm being asked. So I thought I'll check it from the horse's mouth. What would you say would be the biggest benefits of doing infrared sauna?
Right, well, there are many, but I think for me, a big one would be detoxification, because the reality is we're surrounded by toxins in the environment that we live. The food that we eat is a lot more toxic than it used to be, and it could be that we even work in a toxic environment. So unfortunately, we don't sweat enough in life, and that's where an infrared sauna can be very beneficial, because you're able to sweat heavily and release a lot of those toxins out of the body. Just an interesting story, which was my first introduction to far infrared saunas. It goes back about 13 years to when I was in the furniture industry, and a colleague who was manufacturing MDF furniture, which is a very toxic kind of product with a lot of dust and glues and things. Tim, he became very sick with his body was literally poisoned with toxins, and it was all in his skin. It was horrible. His skin was very red, and eventually a health practitioner recommended he get a far infrared sauna. So he got one straight away, and he sat in it every night for long periods of time, and he just sweated everything out and regained his health. And I was quite amazed, and I went straight home and told my wife about it, and that was really our beginnings of learning all about far infrared saunas and the benefits.
Right, how interesting.
So detoxification is a big one. We also have a lot of professional athletes who use our saunas for recovery, muscle repair, recovery from injury. I think our most recent example that I mentioned to you was Owen Franks, ex-All Black, still playing professionally when he ruptured his Achilles tendon. He got in contact with me and wanted a far infrared sauna because it can really help with recovery from injury, because it's really pushing blood to all parts of the body. So yeah, he used it during that whole process, along with some near-infrared light therapy, and he recovered quite quickly. He was back on the field after about 4 months, and I think usually we're looking at a longer period of time to heal from that injury. So it's hard to quantify the benefits of the infrared sauna and the near-infrared light therapy, but I'm sure it played quite a big part in his recovery.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. What else would you say would be appropriate for people to be using infrared saunas? Would there be significant benefits for weight loss patients?
Yeah, I think certainly infrared saunas can help with weight loss, particularly the higher temperatures in the sauna. So the higher the sauna temperature is, far infrared sauna particularly, it induces more of a water sweat. It enables people to lose weight, but of course you've got to accompany sauna use with a lot of other protocols to be able to lose weight effectively, but it can definitely help. We see saunas helping too with skin health.
Right.
If you use a sauna regularly, your skin it really glows.
Right.
It really helps you recover from skin issues as well.
Okay.
What else?
We have a lot that you see. Sorry. Are there particularly any particular skin issues that have benefited a lot more from sauna usage?
We've actually had clients buy saunas off us for their teenagers who've got quite bad acne problems. So I believe it's helped, but of course, diet plays a big role in those kinds of issues as well, doesn't it? But I think if you just use sauna regularly, you do notice quite an improvement in your skin. We have a lot of clients too who, with age comes aches and pains, sometimes arthritic conditions. Clients report experiencing great relief from those kinds of conditions, so can really help manage those kinds of problems.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And Mark, what would you say is the difference between far infrared saunas and other types of saunas available in the market? Right.
So you've got your traditional heat and steam saunas, and then you've got your infrared saunas. So the difference between them is that with a traditional heat and steam sauna, you're heating the box to make you sweat. So typically we see temperatures up around 80, 90 degrees. So you get in that sauna and you just sweat because of the sheer heat. And you can't really stay in too long because it's too oppressive. And you tend to have more of a water sweat in a traditional heat and steam sauna.
Right.
Whereas in the far infrared sauna, to a large degree, it's heating the body directly. So the far infrared heat gets absorbed through the moisture in your skin, drawn in deeper through conduction to the muscles to induce a deep, heavy sweat. And you sweat at much lower temperatures. You can sweat at temperatures as low in the low 40s, 48 to 52. Sweat heavily, and because the temperature's lower, you can stay in the sauna for a lot longer, and that enables you to sweat longer and release more toxins.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of a combination. It's heating the body directly, plus there's the ambient temperature within the sauna.
Right.
Okay. So that makes sense.
At about 45 degrees in the sunstream. So
yeah, well,
that high.
Yeah, I mean, my wife was in there the other night, and I went out to see her, and she only had it at 42 degrees. I said, oh, yeah, it's quite low, but she was sweating heavily, and that was all she felt like tolerating on that particular evening. So, yeah, if you've got a sauna that's designed really well and the heaters are targeting the body, then you can get those sweats up at very low temperatures.
Right.
Yeah. Probably also worth touching on too is that, in the infrared sauna industry, there is quite a lot of confusion because we do have companies that push near infrared saunas and full spectrum saunas. And people just get so confused because which one do I get? Do I get far infrared or near infrared or full spectrum? So we kind of cover all that on our website. We've got a great blog that explains all the differences between those saunas.
Right.
Because the reality is, a lot of the science revolves around far infrared as being the best wavelength for sauna. So, yeah, do you have any questions around that?
I basically think if there is one major advantage of far infrared compared to near infrared or the full spectrum, what would you say it is?
Yeah, so just to explain a little bit about it. So far infrared is what we feel in the form of heat. When we're in the sun, when that heat that we feel on our body is far infrared. Or if you're standing in front of an open fireplace, that intense heat that you feel coming off the fire, that's far infrared as well. So far infrared is the wavelength that's highly absorbed by the moisture in our skin, and it's the best for sauna. Whereas near-infrared doesn't produce much heat at all. And all the science and the studies, there's thousands of them that highlight the benefits of near-infrared. But in all those studies, we see they use laser or LED. And the reason why is because laser and LED can be placed very close to the skin so that the light can pass through and stimulate mitochondrial healing. Because our skin has a natural defense mechanism to deflect near-infrared. So to overcome that, you really have to use laser or LED to get really close to the skin. And near-infrared passes through and stimulates that healing process to injury and so on. So there's no heat, but it's a completely different form of treatment. But what we see, unfortunately, in the sauna industry is that people sell so-called near-infrared saunas, but the reality is, they're using really hot emitters that are pumping out mostly far infrared, 90%, which is causing the sweat, and a very small amount of near-infrared, which you can't actually benefit from therapeutically because the emitters are so hot that you're well away from them and you can't benefit from any near-infrared. So it's very misleading, unfortunately, and people do get really confused. So, if you have any questions about it, we've got a very good information on our website and our blog, and independent reviews as well from people who are very knowledgeable in the sauna industry. So yeah, that's a little bit about it. So if you want to sweat, definitely a far infrared sauna is what you want.
Okay. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Mark, what would you say would be the contraindications? It's like, it's great for a lot of people. Who are people who should not be using a far infrared sauna?
Yeah, well, I think the ones that stand out the most in my mind would be for pregnancy. Definitely wise to not sit in the sauna in those instances. Perhaps menstruation as well. That could increase the blood flow. So they're the main two.
Right.
From my point of view. We find that, people with heart conditions, sauna can be very good, but of course, you always want to consult your doctor if you're unsure.
Yeah, that has been a really, really useful bits of information. And is there any difference in terms of the material, the wood, or because this is heating something up? So
Yes.
when I did my own research before I bought my Sunstream, it was all about the kinds of wood that is in there, and because you are sweating, the risk of molding. So do you have anything to add to that bit of information that I've got?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in our saunas, currently we use 100% Canadian hemlock timber, which has a high degree of, it's quite a hypoallergenic timber. In my experience, I've never heard of anyone having a reaction to it. So we use 100% Canadian hemlock, so there's no plywood or cheaper materials used anywhere in the sauna. And we do find those products used in a lot of brands. And of course, they can be suspect for off-gassing, formaldehyde in plywood and so on. So we completely avoid those materials.
Yeah.
We also ensure that the saunas are constructed with food-safe glue.
Right.
Which we export the food-safe glue to the factory so they can use that in the assembly process. So yeah, safety it's a big thing for us, and it's probably one of the reasons why Sunstream is, a very highly regarded in the sauna industry. One of the other safety points that we have is that our saunas are mitigated for both the magnetic and the electric fields. So we see a lot of brands with low EMF, but we see hardly none with the mitigation of the electric fields. In fact, there's only two, us and one other brand in Australasia, that mitigate both those components. So from that point of view, you can sit in our sauna and feel really safe, and that you're not being exposed to magnetic and electric fields.
Right. Okay, I think it's really important in the pursuit of health, because there's no doing one thing and offsetting it against the EMF that you're getting.
That's right, definitely. Yeah, and I think too, another reason why our saunas are highly regarded is because they just perform so well. We have the body completely surrounded by heaters, so 360-degree radiant health heat, because of course in a sauna, far infrared sauna, we're heating the body directly, we're not heating the room. So the more you can target the body, the more you absorb through the moisture in the skin, and the faster and heavier that you sweat.
Right.
So the heaters are placed at shoulder height, so that we can concentrate the power that's driving the heaters into a lower, hotter heater that's targeting only the body, rather than having the heaters up high on the walls and really wasting a lot of that heat and that energy elsewhere.
Right.
So heater placement and the quality of the heaters, is another factor to consider when you're shopping for a sauna.
Right. Oh, that's a whole bucket load of useful information, Mark.
Yes.
Very much.
Yeah.
Closing, do you have a message, a word or two for our listeners on what they should be doing, how they should go forward? Do you have some message for them?
Well, I guess the message would be that we're all wanting good health and better health. So certainly, sweating in a far infrared sauna is going to be beneficial on so many levels. So yeah, we'd encourage listeners to do some research on the benefits of far infrared sauna, and if you're keen to purchase one, then we'd certainly be happy to talk with you and and offer some discount as well through Irene, who's been kindly to have me on here on her program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you for your time today.
No problem. Thank you very much.